me just share a little bit of my testimony. Tanya kind of she hit the highlights as far as the career success, some of the things the world sees. I was on Billboard, had a #1 record for 11 weeks, smooth jazz. But I often wonder, in eternity, will that matter? And when you go through a terminal disease like I did, like our pastor was preaching this morning, you really think about what's important when you face death. 13 years ago today, I was in a hospital receiving my second round of chemotherapy for Hodgkin's disease lymphoma. That's where I got that nice little puppy where they had to take a tumor out of my neck. Stage 2, close to stage 3, was started in my neck, had gone down to into my chest. Had to leave school, leave college, leave university to get treatment. So I wrote this song halfway through when I did not know what my fate would be. Now, I believed my God could heal me, but he let me, of the many lessons he taught me, one of the most important was when Paul was asking the Lord to take the thorn from his flesh, whatever it was that he was struggling with physically. And the Lord said, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in your weakness." And I went 3 months on my own gas, on my own steam, until I finally said, "Lord, I can't go any further." And he said, "I'm going to carry you through the rest of it." And so I wrote this song. Before I say, obviously I made it, but before I go further into the story, I want you to picture about X amount of pounds, we're not going to say how many pounds lighter, me, 13 years ago, writing this song, facing a disease that, I might die. And this is called Grace is Sufficient. So there I was, writing songs like that and other ones, contemplating my mortality. And I'd gone 3 months through the treatment. And after I wrote that song, and God said, "I'm going to carry you through," he took me that same amount of time. He took me another 3 months of throwing up. I had a port, but I had stopped receiving the drugs through my port. I started receiving them in my veins because it was making me so sick. So at night, my arms were literally burning, and it was very difficult for me to get rest. So, but here's the Lord. There was a nurse that had worked at that hospital for 20 some odd years, or maybe longer, so I think 23 years. She said, in that entire time, I was only the second patient she'd ever seen. Didn't lose my hair. I didn't lose weight. And it was miraculous because they tell you that first drug, the adriamycin, that's what kills you. It kills all the fastest growing cells in your body. And that's why your hair is always the first to go. So I got a call from a friend of mine to go play for a Christian artist named Ron Canoli. I don't know if any of you have heard of him. And we were rehearsing the night before, and I was very sick. And I sometimes go back and look at the pictures, and it's amazing what those drugs were doing to my body. But he said, we finished the rehearsal, we're getting ready to pray, and he said, "Gabriel, you're a great saxophonist, but I didn't call you here because you're a great saxophonist. I called you because tomorrow when you play, God is going to heal you." And we need to get that attitude, that strength and faith in God again, to speak that over each other because he's willing. So I received it. I had no doubt in my mind. I was like, I'm ready. So the next night, we were playing Whose Report Will You Believe? We shall believe the report of the Lord. And in his recording, the first thing it says in the vamp, he says, "Are you healed?" Yes. "Are you filled?" So the first one is, "Are you healed?" There's a saxophone solo that happens right there. "Are you healed?" And I started playing, and I felt the Lord touch me. Now here's the amazing thing. Before I went to that concert, a week before, I'd had a bunch of tests to see what the chemotherapy was doing. And I had had similar tests throughout. the chemo wasn't really stopping the cancer. It was just slowing it down, but it wasn't shrinking the tumors. They were still there. When I came back, it was clear. And the reason that's amazing, the healing didn't happen when I felt it. So whether he changed the test results or he healed me before I went to that concert, either way, it's nothing short of amazing. Because it wasn't like it was the experience and then I got tested and then I was healed. No, I was healed before I ever admitted it, before I ever knew. And to put a nice little bow tie on that, the doctors told me also that when I went through this treatment, I would never have children. They said, you'll be sterile, so you'll need to go to a sperm bank if you want to have kids, because once you go through this, you're not going to be able to have kids. And I am proud to announce that my wife, stand up, baby, is 20 weeks pregnant. Look at that. Look at that little baby in there. And Dee, are you here? You still here? Wave at me, Dee. I see you back there. My brother and I, we came up with this track. We had written this track and we didn't have any lyrics. And when I found out that that baby was on the way and that God had done a complete healing, this was the song I wrote, and this is why I called, the Lord told me to name this album Miracle.